Welcome back, ladies. It is Angel Ray, your queen of clumsies. Today I'm going to be talking about airbrush makeup. The do's, the don'ts, what you need to know before you give this a try, so stay tuned. We're going to be talking about airbrush makeup today. Okay, airbrush equipment. So usually when you do airbrush, you get a little compressor that has the tube, and the tube is hooked to this little baby right here called the wand. And there's a little cup here you can put your makeup in, and then there's the little lever here that you pull back to dispense the makeup, and an airbrush is that makeup all over your face. So that's the basic tools you need. You do have to use specialty makeup specifically for airbrush machines. You can't just dump any old liquid makeup. Okay, let's get to it. So today we are talking about airbrush makeup, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, so this is what happened with me. This is my experience. I'm going to share it with you. First of all, if you don't know, I have acne prone skin, I have oily skin, and large pores. And I'm very, very, very particular on what I need of a foundation. I don't just need coverage. I need a foundation that does not make me break out. I need a foundation that will cover and fill in my large pores. And I need a foundation that doesn't make my skin feel too dry or too oily. And a foundation that lasts all day long. Those are like my 4 criteria for a very good foundation for my skin. So I'm very picky about foundation. It is like, if I can get my foundation right, it's like the basis of my makeup. You know, you have to get your foundation right. So a couple months ago, I saw an infomercial on TV for a free trial period for some airbrush makeup. And, you know, the whole infomercial was about how it's the latest thing, all the celebrities use it, it's so awesome. And I'm like, okay, I want to give this a try. With my very, very picky, very high standards for a foundation, I'm like, I'm gonna give this a try. If this is something celebrities use, celebrities love, then I'm gonna give it a try. So I went ahead and sent for the 30-day trial kit. I actually kept it for like 60 days because I was traveling out of town on business, and I took it with me because I really wanted to give it a good, honest, solid try. So I'm gonna share that with you now. My experience with airbrush makeup. And this is like the top company in the business for airbrush makeup. So I'm thinking this is the best of the best. We're really gonna try this. We're gonna find out if this is working for my skin or not. So that's what I'm gonna talk to you about today. Okay, so at first, when I first received the product, unfortunately, and maybe it was just the company, but the packaging was very cheap for the actual bottle, the bottles of the liquid, the makeup. Now with airbrush makeup, you can't just use any makeup. You have to use an airbrush makeup that's made for the airbrush machine. And it's a lot more thin of a product than what you would normally get at your local drugstore for a foundation. So I got the product, and unfortunately, because of the cheap packaging, one of the bottles was leaking all the time. I mean, I couldn't even pick it up because it had leaked all over everything. And I mean, even when I went to dump it in the machine, it like flipped on my blouse, and I got it all over my hands. It was just a mess. So I was really disappointed with that. And more than likely, if I would have called customer service, they probably would have sent me a new one. But I was on the road, and I really didn't have time to deal with it. So I just dealt with what I had, which was not a good idea. But like I said, life happens. So that was the first thing that kind of turned me off. The second thing that I really didn't like is that I ordered the kit for my colors, which is usually a medium, and it was way too dark. I'm talking noticeably dark. And it was the 2 different colors that you blend together. And no matter how I tried to blend them, a little bit more of this one, a little bit more of that one, you know, they look totally wrong on me. And so I was really disappointed with that. Some days I looked really yellow, and other days I looked like I had a spray tan. and I just could not get the blending of the two colors right. Now, possibly if I would have sent it back and got the light kit, then it may have worked for my skin. But like I said, I normally wear a medium, pushing medium. I can blend a light and a medium most of the time, but I generally tend toward barely into a medium skin tone on my color matching, and it was just way off. So I was really disappointed in that, in my own experience. Like I said, it could have been different maybe with a lighter skin tone match. But like I said, I was on the road. I didn't have time to call and have it sent and deal with it. So I tried to work with what I had and give it an honest try. You know what I mean? And I was traveling for work, and the people I worked with really noticed. I mean, they really noticed, and not in a good way. Because something I learned really quick with this makeup is it lasts all day long, which is great. That's one of my criteria, is something that stays. But the bad thing is if you make any mistakes, they're there all day. I mean, there's no getting out of it. And this stuff, you have to be an artist to get this right. And I am not an artist. I'm a very normal girl. I'm kind of clumsy. And I don't really have a light touch with my hands. Now, if you're an artistic person, if you're like a makeup artist, you could probably do very well with the airbrush. But it was just a little too tricky for me. I just couldn't get the coverage correctly. I couldn't get it applied correctly where it looked nice, where it looked natural. It was very noticeable, not in a good way. And like I said, once it was on, it was there to stay for the entire day. It's not like, oh, well, I got too much bronzer on, it's going to be wearing off for the day anyway. No, it didn't wear off. It was there to stay, and it looked kind of silly all day. So that was not a good thing for me. I really didn't like that. I'm not an artist, so it was not a good experience for me. So another thing that I really didn't work for me. So that was the second thing. As far as the equipment, it was a really So as far as the equipment, it was a really good quality setup for the equipment. I mean, it was great. I was really unimpressed by how well it just didn't work for me. And the second thing that it really did that I did not like is it made me break out. Like I said, I have acne. I have to be very picky about what I put on my face, and I started to break out again when I was using airbrushed makeup. Now, it may have been the brand. Maybe there are other airbrush makeup brands that don't cause breakouts for acne prone skin, but this one personally for me, I just did not have a good experience. And I'm not trying to bash any company. I'm just sharing my experience, and that's why I'm not even naming the name of the company. It's just something I saw in an infomercial. But my experience with airbrush makeup was not a very positive one. The only plus to me was that the makeup lasted all day long. But like I said, there's also the downside of if you make a mistake, it's there to stay unless you wipe off your whole face and start over. And I just did not have time for that when I was getting ready for work in the morning. So I didn't have time for it. So if I messed up, it was staying that way, honey. So that was not a good thing for me in the long run. The other thing that was difficult for me was that with my large pores, it did actually get down into those pores and really emphasize those large pores instead of covering them up and smoothing them out, which I really did not like that at all. Because if you have large pores, it's not fun to advertise them, and it just seemed to really advertise them because it went right down into the pores and kind of lined them and made them stand out, and I didn't like that at all. I did try a pore filler. I have like a little tub of wax stuff that'll fill in your pores, but it seemed like when I would use that underneath the makeup, it would kind of melt off. It's like they didn't work together. So maybe the bases were like wax and water, I don't know. But it didn't work well with a pore filler primer. So I really didn't like that either. So I ended up going back to my awesome foundation that meets my 4 criteria. I just keep coming back to this one, keep coming back. I'm like, okay, no wonder celebrity makeup artists use this foundation. No wonder. I mean, I've tried different things, and I just come back to my favorite foundation again and again, because it's pretty much literally cleared up my acne and meets everything I'm looking for in a foundation. So if you want to know about that foundation, I will leave a link down below this video. It may or may not be for you, but it is awesome for me, and I use it every single day, love it to death. So thank you for joining me today. If you learned something that would help you or help anybody else, and if I'm cool enough for you, subscribe to my channel for more awesome beauty and makeup and health, natural health tips. I'm all about as natural as I can get. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Like I said, check out the links down below if you'd like to. Leave your comments. I would love to hear your comments. Any questions you have, I would love to answer those. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.